Welcome to Cash in the Cyber Sheets. I'm your host, James Bowers, and together we'll work with business leaders and industry experts to dive into the misunderstood business of cybersecurity and compliance to learn how to start making money from being secure and compliant. Welcome to Cash in the Cyber Sheets. Hey everybody, welcome back to Cash in the Cyber Sheets. I'm your host, James Bowers, Chief Security and Compliance Architect here at Input Output. Very happy to have you back here with us today. And today I want to go over, I want to talk about insurance companies' cybersecurity insurance, but specifically something crazy that we've been seeing with policies that we've been reviewing, and actually even just today coming across our desk, something absolutely wild from an insurance company, and what this could mean for your coverage. Actually, what this means that could completely invalidate your coverage. There's a little bit of a teaser hook. So you definitely want to pay attention. You're definitely going to want to look for these things in your own cyber insurance policies and make sure that whatever policy you're setting up for your company, that you set it up the right way and you don't fall victim to these things. We're going to jump right into those. And before we do, like we always do, we ask that you please click that like, click that subscribe, show us some love, send us some comments. And if you'd like to be on the show, go ahead and send us out some love on there. Would love to hear from you, and actually have a few people that we are getting lined up in some future episodes. So thank you for listening, and go ahead and click that like and subscribe. Okay, enough shameless plug. One of the things that we do for our reviews, especially when we're engaging as a virtual CISO or a virtual CIO, Chief Information Security Officer or Chief Information Officer, depending on where a company exactly needs us to fit in. One of the things that we do is help review the insurance coverage, the cyber security insurance. We also look at a lot of other insurance, just making sure that generally from a risk perspective, we've got everything covered. Now, great tidbit, we are not lawyers. We do not give legal advice. I always recommend talk to your legal counsel, talk to your attorney. Make sure that with any contracts that you're signing, with anything that you're setting up, and an insurance policy is very much a major contract, you want to make sure that you have these reviewed. With that said, these are things you want to watch out for. Now, from a, holistic perspective, things that we've seen over the years, things that we're seeing here also recently, is the insurance companies are doing really everything that they can do to help minimize their losses, which they should. That's nothing against an insurance company. They're also looking at how they can best, qualify or put guardrails on cyber incidents, because for quite a while here, it's really been kind of the Wild West. It's traditionally been, okay, if you have a data breach, we're going to cover it, we're going to pay for all the stuff. And there is a lot of nuance to cyber insurance policies, to data incidents. And as things have progressed, as things have matured, the insurance companies are definitely looking to tighten all of that up and help minimize their losses. So that's not inherently a bad thing. It does mean that you need to watch out for certain things. And here's one of the things that we are seeing in a lot of policies that you want to make sure that it doesn't cause you a problem with your coverage. One is anti-subrogation clauses. Now, a lot of providers, ourselves included, have waivers of subrogation in our policies, in our contracts. So when we sign up with a new client, part of our engagement says that they're waiving their right of subrogation. So that means that their insurance company can't actually come after us for any type of claim. A lot of IT companies have this in their policies. And if you don't, and you're an IT company, you definitely should. But what insurance companies are looking to do now is that if you have any waivers of subrogation, that this could actually invalidate your coverage. They'll say that if you don't allow us to go after your other third parties, your vendors, anybody else, then we're not going to cover you. And this is a very important thing to check because more and more companies are putting these waivers in because they don't want to have the headache of having to defend themselves if there's a data incident. And I think that could be its own whole discussion, whether there should be anti-subrogation, whether companies should be insulated from that. That's not really the focus of today. Today, what it is making sure that you have the coverage. And you want to make sure that, number one, make sure your insurance policy doesn't cause you any problems if you have agreed to any waivers of subrogation. There are a lot of policies that will. Other policies very explicitly say that that is okay, that they will honor those if you've signed that in your contracts. So very important to check. Another very important thing to check is terrorism and acts of war coverage. Now, this actually starts leaning into the number 3 issue, the craziest one, but this will really tie into the definitions. It's really going to be getting into the weeds of what is defined as an act of terrorism, what is defined as an act of war, and what is and isn't covered. And the reason this is so important is a lot of cyber attacks originate from outside of the country. They originate from countries like Russia, from China, from other areas that there are potentially sanctions against or that we're not on the best terms with. And if your insurance policy prevents you from getting coverage under acts of war or terrorism based on their definition, it could be a case to where if you have a data breach from one of these nations or originating from one of these locations, it could mean that you don't have any coverage. And we've actually seen this happen where a data incident originating from Russia was not covered by the policy based on that policy language. So it's very important to check what exactly does this mean. Now, a lot of policies will have either riders to where you can add that coverage on. Others are getting to be more specific to where they identify it if it's specified by the U.S. government, and then U.S. government funds are being applied, and then some of those have stopgaps. There's a lot of new ways that this is presenting, but it's very important that you make sure, do we have the appropriate coverage? Now, here's the really crazy one that I want to get to. And you want to make sure that when you're going through your policy, you understand the definitions that they are using. It is very important to understand what are they defining as a hack? What are they defining as a data incident? What are they defining as a penetration? Or whatever language they use, whatever it is that they're covering, a data incident, what is their definition of a data incident and what are the specific exclusions? And this can be very difficult, especially with a lot of policies now having multiple addendums that will change different parts of the policy and then also change different definitions in different areas. So it can be a ping pong match jumping around the policy to validate that what they're saying and what you understand is the same thing. Now, one that we actually just saw and where the client's coverage was denied is that this policy only covers targeted attacks, a targeted hacker attack, or a targeted malware, or a targeted system penetration. And where this gets to be an issue is that in their definition, I'm going to read it right here. Targeted malware is intended by a hacker to specifically infect, be stored, or reside only on your electronic data processing equipment. Further, it's incapable of replicating, mutating, propagating, spreading, or moving to other electronic data processing equipment, media and data, electronic data, devices, media, computer systems, or computer networks. That is practically every single virus. There is, I would struggle here to create a situation or to define a situation that you would actually have targeted malware under their description, that it would only be able to infect your systems or only infect your networks. That means under this definition, if you got a WannaCry infection, ransomware, or you got any other major infection, it wouldn't be covered. Same thing with a targeted system penetration. Means system penetration that is designed to target and exploit, and that does target and exploit a vulnerability that is unique to and present on only your electronic data processing equipment, and such vulnerability is not common to or present on any other electronic data processing equipment, computer network, yada, yada. That means any CVSS, common vulnerability scoring system vulnerability, any vulnerability that's out there would not be covered under this policy. And that's exactly what this client is facing, that their coverage is not being extended. Their claim is being completely denied because the insurance company is saying that this was not targeted malware. It was not a targeted system penetration because it's a known vulnerability, or it's a vulnerability that is out there in the wild. This policy is actually pretty to the extreme of what we have seen. I haven't seen something that is essentially invalidates all of your coverage. This definition right here basically says any type of penetration, any type of malware is not going to be covered unless you have your own proprietary operating system and own proprietary equipment and network equipment that nobody else has and nobody else could possibly use, and you're the only person in the world, and then in that case, yeah, okay, we'll cover it. But we have seen things like this where the definitions start sliding the coverage to where the client isn't as covered as they thought they were. And this is what you really want to watch out for. You want to make sure that the definitions, the way that the insurance company is defining what your coverage is what you expect it to be, and even more importantly, what you need it to be, because you don't want to have a data incident and then figure out that you don't actually have the coverage, because these kind of things can put a business completely under. If you have questions about your insurance, you want to take a look at yours, we are more than happy to engage and take a look with you. With that said, we do not provide legal services, so please always consult with your attorney, but we are happy to give it our once over as well, and to help give some food for thought to your attorneys and to your risk management teams so you can make informed decisions about how to best protect yourself and your business. Everybody, thank you very much for listening, and until next time. Thanks for joining us today. Don't forget, click that subscribe button, leave us a review, and share it with your network. Remember, security and compliance aren't just about avoiding risk. They're about unlocking your business's full potential. So stay secure, stay compliant, and we'll catch you next week on Cash in the Cyber Sheets. Goodbye for now.
Life goes up and it goes down.